Oh gosh. Oh, people, we got a microphone coming out of its holder, out of the stand.
It's a good start.
Hello, welcome to Little Bit. It's your host Aiden, and with me today is Cole. How you doing, Cole?
Man, I'm really good. I'm very happy to be home. See you for the first time since Christmas. See everybody for the first time since Christmas. It has been a while.
Yeah, so where have you been these days?
Oh, locked in my room, working remote.
Oh yeah, how's that going? Oh, is this like the first bit of human contact you've had in a little bit?
No,
a little bit.
It's all right. I like working remote. A lot of people liked it at first, and then kind of fell out of love with it. It seemed like.
I remember talking to you at the beginning of you working remote, actually, and sorry, I'm gonna turn this off real quick. Oh, never mind. Sorry, it's already good. But I remember at the beginning of quarantine, when you first started working remote, and you didn't like it as much because of the amount of email, so like traffic you were getting and stuff like that.
No, I liked it more because when I was in the office, there was a lot of traffic. And in working remote, this kind of sounds bad, but I get to a certain extent, ignore it for at least, for a while until I have to answer it and just be able to focus and get my work done because they can't physically stop at my desk.
You're able to prioritize, yeah.
Yeah, they can't physically stop at my desk and interrupt me. But so I really enjoy
You like the remote?
Yes, absolutely.
So also, what do you do to explain the remote work?
I'm a software engineer for a big logistics company based out of Arkansas. I'm sure the folks can guess at this point, but so I'm a software engineer and a UI tech lead. So it's me, and I'm in charge of mine and three other devs code they write. So yeah, that involves a lot of writing code, but it's a lot of reviewing code and making sure that we're all following best practices and pushing quality products out there. So.
Okay, so what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Like you say reviewing, what is that?
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis, so our work is cut out in what's called sprints, and it's just 2-week periods of time. So at the beginning or before a sprint starts.
So you kind of get to start a new project every couple of weeks?
Not a new project, but a new feature on the same project. Yeah.
I'm sure that's kind of nice to switch things up.
It's refreshing, and maybe not a new feature. It depends on how it's kind of separated out. It's called a user story. And how that works is a user story is defined as as a user, I need to be able to, edit dispatcher contacts on this load that we're dispatching before we assign.
Because you said it's a logistics company,
right?
Okay, yeah.
And so we each get assigned a certain amount of user stories every sprint up to a certain amount of points. We call them story points, and all of this gets allocated and planned in what's called sprint planning before the sprint starts. It's where we all sit down as a team and we decide what needs to be done on this user story, how long it's going to take, who's going to take it. And so then you start your sprint, and you have 2 weeks to complete what was assigned to you. And it's kind of it has its ups and downs, but it's for the most part, a great way to work because
I'm sorry, which part is a great way to work?
The sprints with the certain amount of work because you go on 2-week cadences and you don't really have to work set amount of hours. They don't track any of that. They don't make sure that you're working at 8 a.m. and make sure. It's
really just you have these tasks.
Wow. It's
like
show up at the end of 2 weeks with these things done and you're fine. Nobody's gonna ask any questions.
Yeah. So I've wondered this before, and I don't think we've ever talked about it, is so in that type of setting, when you are in the field of software and you have these teams before the pandemic, before it was remote work, and you guys were in office, Did you guys just all sit next to each other? And what does that look like?
Yeah, it's kind of a war room setup where we each had cubicles, but with short walls, and you shared one cubicle with somebody.
Is it just constant back and forth? Is that the part you didn't like? Because I'm sure, like...
There's a lot of that, yeah. Yeah, the part that I didn't like
Which is productive as well.
Yeah, it is productive. But as I gained more and more responsibility, because I went into this job, Brad had a bushy tail right out of college, didn't really know anything, spent easily the
About
first...
to be me.
Yeah, I'm graduating soon. This is going to be awesome. Yeah, so went in there and didn't know anything. So spent easily the first 6 months just kind of getting up to speed, and then...
That is so funny. Universally, everyone's saying that.
Yeah.
They're saying you get past the 6 months and all of a sudden it feels different. You feel more...
It does.
Yeah.
That is 100%
Garrett has
true.
said that. Grant has said that. You have said that. Haverty has said that.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went in there and learned a lot.
Well, like in that area, but yeah.
Yeah, for my first 6 months, and I wasn't really in charge of anything besides the items that were given to me, and they were, for the first couple months, few and far between, and it was mostly just training.
Would you say that you were being monitored a lot more?
Not necessarily, but my code was a lot more scrutinized. It would be in front of a lot more eyes than it is today.
Oh, okay.
Today,
you had to go through a lot more. More
Yes.
people had to pass on what you were giving them.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening is I ended up in my position as a lead kind of through a fluke. We had a great tech lead. Her name was Jessica, who ended up leaving the company about 6 months into my tenure there. And our manager was like, well, we don't have a lead. Who's going to do that? And I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
completely underqualified. Didn't know what I was doing. I was like, how hard could it be? Come on.
Yeah.
And he's like,
but here you are.
yeah. Well, he was like, okay, you can be the stand-in lead and we'll search for another. And what ended up happening is, and this is beyond me how this even happens, but he hired another lead. Not he. There was a lot of people involved in hiring another lead. And it ended up being a back-end lead. So
what does that mean?
So in software, there's a common design principle. It's not always this way, but there's a very common design principle between of a split between front end and back end, or it's also called service side and client side. So when you go to YouTube, what you physically see is the front end, and that's what I specialize in. Specialize in developing.
Oh wow! So I work in production, and so there's the main differences is what I'm seeing is there's live and then there's post. So which is kind of like front of the house, back of the house.
Yeah.
So there's the board that obviously the people don't see.
Yeah.
And then there's in the front the stage. So you work on what is presented.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what the client sees is what I develop, and then there's back
on a
end.
website.
Yeah, on a website.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's back end or server side, which is where a lot of the data processing and mostly data processing is services, but we also have things like listeners and indexes, but that's digging in pretty deep to it. But all the kind of data handling stuff ends up on the backside. So when you click the submit button on the front end, we send a request object out to the back end, and they handle it as they will. But
okay.
So I'm on the front end, and so back to how I got in the position I'm in, they hired a lead, but some confusion happened along the way. It ended up being a back end lead who didn't know front end.
Oh wow! So it was kind of a mess up in the hiring process.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
shout out to that guy for getting that job.
And so he didn't end up.
He was like, "Listen,"
he didn't end up being the front end lead, and so we were still stuck without one. And I was still sitting in, and so it just ended up I never got replaced.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
It was, like I said, kind of a fluke.
Okay. Well, and you've been there for a while now. How long have you been there?
Just over 2 years. 2 years in January.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
So let's take it back a step before that. Before you had that job, where did you go to school?
I went to Auburn University in Alabama for 3 years, but before that, Cincinnati.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that
A
first
lot
year.
of people do
Yeah,
forget
I
about
do.
that.
I of course it came back to me.
Yeah.
So which was your favorite experience?
Auburn. I mean, they
Yeah.
both had their. Yeah, they both had their thing, but
Because I've
Auburn.
met some of your friends from Cincinnati, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, I still have some
Didn't I
great
pick-
friends from Cincinnati.
I picked you
them
guys
all
up-
from,
yeah.
from Derby. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a story.
That
Maybe
was a
not
story.
pod appropriate story, but that's a story.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was so good about Auburn? What'd you like? What was the
Man, I'm so lucky.
Maybe
I got
not
to go to Auburn. Like I've been I mean, you would know this. My bedroom was just covered in Auburn when I was a kid. Biggest Auburn fan. Loved watching all the football games.
Of course. And that's because your dad went there, right?
Yeah, my dad.
Did he
went
graduate? Did he go there the whole time?
No, he didn't go there the whole time, but he did graduate from there.
Okay.
He's kind of similar to me. He went to a small school in Louisiana and then transferred there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Auburn. Have loved Auburn forever, and then ended up being able to go there. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but what was your favorite part? That were like tailgating, like the campus life,
Yeah.
the
It's
nightlife around it. What would you pinpoint?
Man, anything around football was so
Huge.
much fun and huge, and the tailgates were awesome. And
Yeah.
there, in my time at Auburn, there were some really good games. We beat Alabama twice, which doesn't happen all that often. We got to storm the field.
Tell them about it. You got the years.
We got we beat Alabama, and all of my family was down there. All of my friends and their friends, and we're down there. We had like 30 people in a 2-bedroom apartment tailgating.
Yeah.
And then we go to the game, and we beat them, and got to storm the field.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Jumping over
The
these-
energy there probably was insane.
They're like 8-foot hedges. You gotta like leap over. People are just falling into them. It was crazy. It was so
Yeah.
much fun. Yeah, I love that place, man. I love that place.
That is super cool. So, what did you think about the Cincinnati? Like, also, I'm sure when you were in Cincinnati, you weren't even 21, so it probably limited a lot of what the nightlife you could have explored.
A little bit. I had my ways.
You had your ways. Interesting.
Getting into the nightlife, but I was also in a
Catch me if you can type character.
Yeah, I was also in a fraternity though, so like.
Right.
What I couldn't go do at the bars for the most part, like we had big parties and
Right.
all that stuff. That was fun. Partied a lot at Cincinnati. I partied a lot at Auburn too, but
Yeah.
Cincinnati was like a kind of a step above. And those friends that came to town for Derby, they were wild too, but they're still some of my best friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have another question. So did you notice a difference between Cincinnati's? I'd say kind of. It's not necessarily north, but like, did you notice a difference between like the people in north versus south, kind of thing?
Oh, are you talking about the Southern hospitality?
Yes,
thing?
it's exactly what I'm
No,
talking
that's
about.
real.
Is it?
Yeah, that's real. 100%.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
A lot of the
Did they have sweet tea in Cincinnati?
sure everywhere has sweet tea.
No.
No.
I went on a vacation. Well, it was fun. We went to Pennsylvania, and then we also went to New York,
Yeah.
and we went to Scranton and saw where The Office was filmed and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And I tried ordering sweet tea multiple times on this trip, and they were like, they would always make jokes about the South, and
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think
like
I live in the South.
where we grew up is not South, but I guess it's
Keep
south-
guessing, folks.
Yeah.
We've said multiple states.
I guess it's southern enough that we have
Yeah.
sweet tea. Like sweet tea's not alien to us at all, but I know like
It's a must-have for me. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not a sweet tea guy. I'm not really a tea guy though. But
Yeah.
what's funny is I was just in
I'm sure there are places that have it. Come at me. Say it. I'm sure you quit. I'm sure you commented before. Whatever.
I was just in Kansas City hanging out with my
Is
girlfriend.
this your new spot?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
soon to be.
Yeah.
Soon
You're
to-
all over the place.
I've gotten around.
That is super cool though. Like that I think that's cool.
I enjoy it a lot. It's always I've really enjoyed like every place I've been, but like going to a new place is always like a breath of fresh air.
Really?
And I've never ended up somewhere that's like terrible. I don't think.
That's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
So like when you go to a new place, you say it's a breath of fresh air. You don't go into it with like anxiety.
Oh,
of,
there's
like,
plenty of anxiety.
Yeah.
Like a move. I remember from Cincinnati to Auburn. I was
There
like,
you go. That's a good example.
yeah, I was like freaking out,
Yeah.
absolutely freaking out. But you know, like my sister moved down there at the same time. Worst
Mhm.
comes to worst, I can just hang out with my sister. But like even then, like the first day I moved in, and
Did you guys get along good when you lived together?
yeah, we got along fine. We didn't
Yeah.
see each other as much as you'd think.
I'm
we
sure,
would,
yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah. But just random stuff like this seemed to happen when I move. I got there first day. My parents were already down there helping me move, and so I pulled up. Do I need to stop or?
No, you keep talking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so I had gotten down there. My parents.
Okay, no, I just need to clap and did the thing.
My parents. No, you're good. They had moved down there
restarted.
already, so they were there and sitting in the apartment. And I pulled up, and there were two girls standing at my. I pulled up from Walmart. I think I was buying a coffee maker, and there were two girls standing at my door. And I was like, okay,
Killing it.
what is going on? And so I'm walking up with a coffee maker up behind them,
Yeah.
and they're sitting there waiting for my parents to answer the door. They don't know who's in there, but waiting for someone to answer the door. And I'm like, can I help you?
Yeah.
They turn around, and immediately they're like, oh my gosh, do you live here? I'm like, yes. We're your neighbors. We got locked out of our apartment. We had to pee so bad. Can we use your bathroom? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then they used the bathroom, and then they just like visited for 30 minutes, having drinks and, enjoying life. And it was.
So that's how you got to know your neighbors.
Yeah, it was Sarah and Maddie. And man, they were awesome. I hung out with them all the time. So
That's
I
awesome.
ended up making friends first thing down there, not within 5 minutes of being there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, when you think about it, like, the amount of people you come into contact on a daily basis, and then, like, okay, do you ever meet friends within the field? Like, I'm sure you have some, but, like...
Like work friends?
Yeah, of course work friends, but, like...
Yeah. I'm not great friends with the people I work with, but we hang out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then moving to, like, Arkansas, I don't have a ton of friends in Arkansas, but I have some cousins that live there that I go hang out with, and they've got a lot of people they know that I end up meeting. And then my girlfriend, she's got a lot of friends in the area that we end up hanging out with, and they're awesome people. So it all just works out. I kind of like third time over moving, I'm just like, it'll be all right.
It's just, like, part of the repertoire for you now.
Yeah.
Like, every so often you got to do it now.
It's
part of the thing.
I'm gonna be.
You can retire once you hit the whole 48.
Right,
I'm not saying you got to go to Hawaii or Alaska. If you decide to, fine, we'll count it.
Yeah.
But we're looking for 48. That's the number.
Yeah, I'm gonna be settling down one day and being like, "Oh, honey, it's been a year. We gotta move. Have we been looking for a house?"
She's begging you, just retire. It was a podcast. I don't care what he said. You don't actually. You're 70 years old. Retire. We only got Wyoming. It's the
Wyoming,
last
man.
one.
I want to go to Wyoming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know
Haven't
about
you been
living.
skiing and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, when COVID broke out, where were you? Because weren't you on vacation or something? That's a cool story.
Yeah, I was in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Oh, you're wearing the nice, dude.
Yeah,
So,
that was
let's talk
crazy.
about it.
That was insane, man. Yeah, we were up in Breckenridge with a few friends just on a week-long ski vacation, having a good time. And randomly, my uncle, Bruce, was there. And I just
Really? Like, no plans?
Nope, I had no idea he was there.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because where does he live?
In Texas.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That is insane. What is going on?
Yeah, I saw his daughter post a picture of a mountain, and I was like,
No way.
that's Breckenridge. That's
First
where I'm
thought,
at.
no way.
And then so I called him, and he's like, yeah, we're up here. I was like,
Wow.
well, I am too. Let's hang out.
That is wild.
Yeah. So anyway, back to COVID. It was the last day we were at the ski resort, or actually we were leaving. So we weren't even skiing that day. We started to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And not even halfway home, someone was on their phone and was like, "Hey, Breckenridge just shut down."
Wow.
Yeah, so we got out of there half a day before it shut down, and then we get back to Denver where we're staying with a friend, and the same day it's like, my buddy gets a message from work that he's working remote for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I get a message from work. Yeah, I get a message from work that I'm working remote for 2 weeks. NBA gets canceled. March Madness gets canceled, and 401ks are flying down a hill. We're like, the world is ending.
The beginning for me was like right as like spring break was going on, and they had just extended spring break at the school I was at for like I think 2 weeks. I think it was a similar thing, and we were on vacation in Alabama and visiting people and stuff, and we were at this resort, and it was a nice place, and they just it was super low capacity, so we were like, yeah, it's probably, it's any day now, because like the news was coming out and stuff, and we were like, yeah, but we were there, and we were kind of in this weird situation. Obviously we wanted to stay, and then we got a note under the door that said, please evacuate, or whatever it said. Yeah, by whatever time the next day, we're completely shutting down. And, yeah.
That is insane.
It was such a weird... Because I remember when you were traveling, and this is also why I brought this up, were you ever scared at any time, like... Did you fly?
Yes.
Okay, you flew. We drove, and I was like... What if it gets... Because we didn't know what anything looked like. Right. I was like, what if they shut down border, like state lines? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I worried about flights, and then...
Oh, yeah, that too.
I can't remember if we needed masks after that. I don't think
the mask came out. The mask came out like April.
Yeah, I don't think we needed masks on our flight, but I remember just...
Like when states really started cracking down, like early April.
I remember trying to get back home from that trip and just having like such an elevated level of attention to everything in the airport. Like, because, well, what we thought, it was like, how it happened is it got into Washington State, right? I think first.
I honestly am not sure.
I think something like that. New York City or Washington State or one of the two. And then
probably first documented ones,
That's exactly the key word. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Breckenridge, Colorado is shut down. Yeah. And then I'm like, it's everywhere. If it's in Breckenridge, it's here.
And let's not get it twisted. Your boy got sick, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I got sick.
Everybody got sick on the trip.
Sick as a dog when they came back, and nobody ever got a test because at that point you couldn't.
It was
at that point you couldn't get a test. They were there, but so high demand, they were hard to get and almost not even worth it by the time we were feeling better, and we were remote anyway.
Right.
So
as you said,
we'll never know if we had COVID, but probably did.
That is always going to be. Honestly, don't get tested for the antibodies. It's a better story.
Well, they'd be gone by now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your
they do say it's a few months.
They'll go away, and then you can catch it again.
That is wild. But, yeah, so it's locked down because guess what? It's being documented now, dude. It's said now you will tell these grandkids whenever, if you have a great nephew, whatever the hell, and be like, listen, when it broke out, nothing. I skied out of the resort, snowboarded out, had COVID on my shoulder. It was coming at the lungs.
Took it down like a champ.
Took it down. It was nothing.
No, for real, it did. It did knock me on my butt for a few days.
Oh no, I believe it.
Not the most fun experience in the world.
My dad got it.
Yeah.
While I was gone, I got the day before, and I avoided him. Like the current plague,
right.
And but anyway, it was rough. He got pneumonia. I ended up just staying at Summer's house when I found out he got it. I was like, well, I'm already about to leave, so see ya. And he got pneumonia as well with it.
Ouch, man, that sucks.
Yeah,
but it's good to know he's fine now, but
he's back to normal now, but he was pretty sick. And then I think my mom got it. I'm not
Didn't
sure.
your sister get it as well?
I don't think she did. I think she was just I think she was sick or was something, but no.
Okay. Yeah, and it broke out at the down there on the river where everybody stays, right? With the Wileys and all them got it, right?
Yeah. It's rough out there. Yeah. And then what's really funny is, let's not say where, but like down where they go to camp and stuff.
Yeah.
They that's where it was funny. It's a couple guys went there to quarantine, and then next thing you know, people are getting sick down there. And stuff.
Yeah, they went down there quarantine. Everybody had that idea. Huh?
Yeah. Did I say already that I stand with Tim Dillon?
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this again. I'm wearing a Joshua Tree shirt, and I know this is random, but I stand with Tim Dillon on the Airbnb subject. Let's go. And that's all. So that's all.
That's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I gotta say. Dude, we used Airbnb. Me and Grant talked about it a little bit on the podcast.
For the Nashville trip?
Yeah.
I guess I did know we used Airbnb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just kind of like, send me the bill.
Yeah. Is that like what is that type of nightlife like similar to like what you experienced in Auburn?
No, that's on a different level.
It's a different level.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Auburn it's fun, and but the thing is, it's completely college kids, full stop.
Yeah.
And not that many of them. It's like 25,000 person college, right? Mm-hmm. But the town outside of Auburn is very small, suburbia, Alabama. Like there's just not much going on.
Yeah.
It's very much.
Well, that makes sense.
Town.
And I did kind of figure that going into it, that Nashville is popping. Like it really is.
Nashville is on a different level. Yeah.
It is a very cool area. I'm open to anywhere. Like as far as like applications and stuff go, work wise, and that's why I was asking you about the.
Where are you slinging them out to?
That's one of them, and then really anywhere. I'm just now. I've told you I've only put one application out, but I'm just now starting to really get on it. And part of the reason why I wasn't too active is just because I was getting so like anxious. I was like, wow, I'm literally like set. Like if I get one of these, I'm moving, and then like starting there. Which I'm also excited about. I'm very excited about. But like Nashville, a lot of areas, man. I honestly, it'd be crazy if I started naming them off because it's really I'm really liking the idea of one of these bigger areas, like fill in the blank, like Nashville, Atlanta, Austin, Houston, those type of places. Even just different areas is because I want the potential for growth as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I wonder, are you is moving away prioritized, or is it just wherever you get it? Are you?
But
like, are you applying around home?
Not as much because I do see some, but I also I think it would be better for me, like I said, long term.
Yeah. Like I imagine that. Not that it's not here, but I imagine the scene isn't huge here.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's my whole thing is I think, and also I have a little bit of this thing is like, wow, I'm documenting this on the podcast, but so I also have this thing of like where I would rather go ahead and get the first job out of here.
Yeah.
That way, like, I don't get, like, a mediocre and then it's harder to move because, things are getting paid. Life is kind of easy.
Right.
Why mix it up? Mm-hmm. I think it'd be easier to just go ahead and start somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a whole lot. And it's just, nerve-wracking because, like, potentially I could be moving, I'll be moving to a neighborhood I don't even know exists. Like, right now, it doesn't even exist in my mind.
Yeah.
That's so weird to me. And it's like only a couple months away. And, maybe a few months until like things start rolling out and stuff like that. But like, it's so weird to me to think that, like 6 months from now.
You might be somewhere that doesn't exist in your mind right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I'll be paying rent. I'll be going to a job and, having a social life and all this thing with things I can't even like. Imagine yet. Which
it's weird for sure.
It's a weird thought. It's exciting, as I said. I'm gonna go and check this real quick.
Sure.
So, So you say you just meet most of your friends like. Cool. I think that's just how it happens. Though that's the best way to have it. Like you.
A lot of times it's random. in Arkansas where I live now, it was a lot of work friends, and then family, like kind of more distant family, and then through my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But like in Auburn, most of it was just by complete chance. Like I have a really good friend that I met in Auburn, and I met him. He's a freaking degenerate.
Are we talking about he attended some of the Nashville, the Topgolf?
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I met him in Auburn because we were in. So I don't know if anybody's ever transferred colleges.
Yeah,
but
I did.
You lose credits. Sometimes.
Oh, I got out. Fortunately, I was able
You were good
to keep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I lost some credits.
That is very
when
unfortunate.
I transferred, and so I ended up taking. So I took a quantum physics class in Cincinnati, and it had a lab with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I transferred to Auburn, it ended up Physics 2 did not count, or that physics class I took in Cincinnati did not count for Physics 2 at Auburn, or the lab.
Dang.
And so I ended up going into the lab, and it took me 10 minutes to figure out I've done this experiment before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did to the T this exact experiment in
Yeah.
Cincinnati. So I just knocked it out just real quick. Had it done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And man, I had the worst lab partners. I don't know. Do you ever have like group projects and
Yes.
and I had the worst partners because, and I look back on it now and I'm like, man, they were just trying to understand it more, but they kept telling me, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Are you sure it's not this? Are you sure it's not this? And I kept telling them, I have taken this lab before.
Mm-hmm.
I've done exactly this. I know it is. I know it is. I'm not trying to spend any more time than I have to here.
Right.
I'm trying to get out of here. And so
I've been here before.
Yeah. So like 3 labs in, I'm getting sick and tired of these lab partners. But there was one guy that joined that would just listen to me. He's like, yeah, I want to get out of here too. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, this sounds good. This sounds good. And that was Lance.
Mm-hmm.
And so he walked in the next lab after. So he was in my group one time, and then he walked in, and he sees me, and he just goes, and I was like, yes, sir. And
do
so
me a favor, keep talking. I'm gonna switch the camera battery because we're gonna keep going.
yeah, absolutely. And so I ditched the other lab partners and just ended up being me and Lance. And what I would do is, Physics 2 is a lot about magnetism, but it's also a lot about electricity. And so we have to build circuits in lab. And I had all the software and instrumentation I needed to build these circuits. So I would just do the entire lab on my laptop before we walked in. It'd take me 10, 15 minutes maybe. And then we'd have to go in there and build the physical circuit, and we'd be out in 5. And, I mean, it was a 2-hour lab.
Because you had done it before?
Yeah. It was a 2-hour lab, so we'd be out in 5 minutes, and Lance was like, I love this kid. And so eventually Lance figured out I'm not just a genius. I just had done the lab before and had all the work done. But we would get done with that and go grab...
Good for you.
We would get done with lab and go grab beers, and that ended up being one of my best friendships.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy, and he was a lot of fun on that trip as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's really funny, dude. If you would have told me that first day, I would have been like, dude,
that I knew all the labs.
Don't say anything else. I'm with you.
Oh, good. You'd be the good one.
Yeah, no, I'd be like, are you kidding? You've done this before? My God, guys. I'm about to start cursing.
Yeah.
You hear me? This guy says he's been here before.
Yeah.
Or done it
I did the
before.
exact lab, so I just, why do it? Why do I have to torture myself twice? I just want to get out of there. Our lab tech loved us because I don't know why, he just loved that we'd be out of there. Yeah. Well, I think the sooner people get out of there, the more he likes them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It makes his job go by
so
faster.
he was all about it.
I will say with group projects, I had to do a few. And then even with this that I have for one class. So we were talking about recording something that like that. It's
Yeah.
not really a group project because it's just my grade, but I do have to interact with other people. One thing that I have noticed hugely, hugely, how do you say it?
I think it's kind of like a Y at the beginning.
Huge notice is that when you're asking people to record music or like anything like that, it's usually not ever that simple. You see?
Oh, it's never that simple. Yeah.
It's never, hey dude, I got a couple chords and you've done it for me,
Yeah.
and guess what? It was simple.
Well, that took me probably a good hour and change, but yeah.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and I know the timing. And that
Oh, you mean it's not simple to get it out of them?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. No. I mean the back and forth, the communication.
Right. Do you need this? Like, wait, this chord is yeah. Whatever.
And just like the amount of like, I'm an artist, like that comes out of people.
Like, yeah.
It's like, dude, calm down. This is for 200 level class right now.
I remember when I put that together and I was like, man, it's kind of choppy, but like it's the best I can do right now.
No, and then I can
Right.
adjust. I can make some changes from there, and it's
I
perfect.
just did a little bit of post work and then sent it, looped it in post because I played the
what we're
chord.
looking for.
I played the chord progression twice, and then I was like, okay, I can't. You needed it for like 2.5 minutes or something like that. And so I was like, I can't play it for 2.5 minutes. Well,
Software engineers are coming for your jobs. Not only because musicians, not only because they understand how to use these softwares. I bet you could figure it out. They can play the instruments. This guy,
it's so weird.
you've always played instruments, right?
I've played guitar for a long time.
You can mess around on the piano.
Yeah, I can play a little bit of piano, but
You can play some piano.
yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But it is weird the amount of software engineers that are into music. Like you wouldn't.
I think it makes sense.
I guess it makes sense, but it's like every other person.
Yeah.
It's kind of different.
But you're also one of the. I think you can. You can do some stuff by ear, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned
One of those
mostly
freaks.
by ear.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, I learned reading a lot of tabulature, but I can't read music, which kind of sucks. It's kind of a drag. I want to be able to read music.
If you can read it, who needs? I mean, if you can play it, who needs to?
Right, but
If you can hear it, is what I'm trying to say.
well, I'm not that good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not like perfect pitch.
Yeah, it's not like I play
so
E and
it's
then
like
E
it's
minor.
GCA. I can hear. Actually, if it was like a GCA, I could hear that chord
Yeah.
progression. But
He's like, actually, I can.
like that's a really simple one. But some people are
Yeah.
nuts. They're like,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
some
No, I
minor blah 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 whatever crazy chord. They can just
Mhm.
hear it off the top of their head. I'm not like that, and
Well-
it does take me a lot of time to learn a song. But I can learn a lot of songs.
What was the
by-
first song you learned? Smoke on the Water, Don't Lie.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like that's the number
I couldn't tell you, but I mean, like probably "Smoke on the Water."
one. Yeah.
But first full song,
Mhm.
man, probably like "Knocking on Heaven's Door." That's a very easy song to play, and it sounds great. I love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what other hobbies, interests you got going on these days?
Man, I work a lot, and
Yeah.
then mostly just play games afterwards. But every once in a while,
Like video games?
Yeah, I play a lot. I play a lot.
Drinking
of video
games, video games.
No, I don't drink much anymore.
Really? You have
I-
a cocktail you like or anything? Or drink, what I mean.
I do like bourbon more than I used to, which is
Really?
funny. Just because I don't know why.
Now that's Garrett's stuff.
Yeah, Garrett.
Garrett is a
loves
big bourbon guy.
No, I was telling my mom earlier, and my mom loves to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she.
Our moms together.
Yeah,
is
they
a
love to have a
blast.
good cocktail. But I was telling my mom I had like 3 White Claws on Monday. Just a rough day at work. Went through the ringer, and I was like, I'm gonna have some White Claws.
Yeah.
And 3 down, and I was like, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, so you like White Claws? That's one.
I do like White
Yeah.
Claws, and then like cheap beer.
Not sponsored.
Not reach out though.
Yeah. Anyway, so like beer, is there a type of beer you prefer?
Cheap.
Cheap beers. I like it. Economic beer. So you're a hams guy.
I don't reach for hams.
But
I
ice.
go. I always reach for Miller Lite, which
Yeah.
is there's like rungs.
Isn't that the
to
champagne?
There's
beer?
like rungs to the cheapness. No, that's Miller High Life.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
That's even cheaper than Miller Lite though.
Really?
Yeah, the champagne of beers.
Interesting. Marketing people.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, I usually reach for Miller Lite for whatever reason.
What was my dad bragging about upstairs before we came?
Oh, getting a bottle of Blanton's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you getting it for?
Oh, 57 or 53, something like that.
Something like
That's
yeah.
like MSRP, but what happens is these distilleries, they sell it wholesale, and then they're like, please, hey, would you please not spike the price up, please?
But they're like winking at you.
Yeah, all the retailers are like, yeah, thanks, but no. I'm gonna.
Do they just make like what
up.
is the deal? Everyone is talking about that brand. Like
Blanton's? It's like, from what I
is
understand,
it like a very limited batch?
It is,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's sort of set up to be very collectible because they have, I don't know if you've seen it, but I think there's 6 different bottles, and
No.
the horse figurine on top, it does a full
Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All.
does a full run or whatever it's called with the horse,
Gallop.
like a gate, like a full gate.
Hmm.
And so if you line up all the bottles, it's like
Looks like it's
like
running.
stop motion running, and
Yeah.
so there's that. And then they have like special edition bottles, and the bottle itself is just like, I don't know. It ended up getting like super hyped.
They became instead of NFTs or non-fungible, they were fungible or tangible
Yeah,
fungible token. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's what I'm like. It's so weird. Ever since like this whole spike in Bitcoin and all that stuff. Like even when you guys were talking about up there, when you were talking about people buying these new spots and stuff like that at that location, I almost said I was like, that's the tangible, like real
Right.
estate is
Just
like, but
tangible
really
investments,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything I put in perspective like that now. Do you have Bitcoin?
Very small amount. I don't like to mess around with
You got
that
7 coins?
stuff. I got 7 coins.
I wish.
That's
Did
my
you see
retirement
that
fund.
thing about the very first Bitcoin transaction? Is that pizza shop?
Was it?
Yeah, you want to hear what it was?
Wasn't blockchain created by the creator of Bitcoin, or was it that the first thing that leveraged blockchain?
I'm not sure, but I will. But what I do know about blockchain is like people are starting to go for that. Logan Paul has one of those now. Like he has.
He has a
Some,
cryptocurrency.
he was talking about that, how it uses blockchain
I
and
hate
stuff like that.
blockchain.
Yeah. Why?
You get a different perspective on it in the software industry because it is the biggest buzzword that is. I'm sure there's
Everyone's
been
saying it right now.
I'm sure there's been others that have come around. I'm not a veteran in the industry, but blockchain is like such a buzzword, and people are like people just want it. They don't even know what it is. They don't know what it can do, and they just want it. They're like it becomes the solution to every problem, and you're never going to use it. Like it's just irritating to a certain point.
Yeah.
But it is cool.
It is cool. Yeah. So are you gonna go ahead and plug your NFT? You got one coming out, right? It's a picture of you mooning the camera or something like that. I forgot.
I should do that. I always
Yeah, it's selling for $17,500.
yeah, I always see stuff like
17,000.
that, and I was like, rich people just got it so easy because or not rich people, famous people got it so easy because everybody for some reason just goes nuts over anything to do with them, and so they just start.
So
They can go in their bathroom and just take a selfie and
OnlyFans.
yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, what I've heard about this, like if you create an NFT,
yeah.
you can say you got 5 of them, and each of them you value at $1,000, and you are able to sell one of them for $1,000,
Yeah.
and you donate the other 4 to a nonprofit that will accept them.
Yeah.
You can write off $4,000.
Really. Even though they don't necessarily have
That's what I've heard explained to
Right.
me. You just have to have the one transaction.
right. It's like potential value, but like, how do you realize that?
That could be wrong, dude. I don't know. I'm
That's
just
so
saying, if
weird.
that's true, like, imagine you don't even have to launder.
Speaking of launder, that's what all this stuff is.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
There's that one that got a lot of press that sold for like 60 mil or something crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's a lot of rich people laundering a lot of money with that right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you're writing it off. Like, yeah. And then, who knows what happens from there.
There's something sketch going on.
And then they go to the island and...
You got tin hats somewhere we can put on?
Yeah. All right, folks, put the tinfoil hats on. Let's talk Epstein. We're having him on the podcast next week, by the way.
Yeah, we found him.
He's not dead. That was a body double. They killed some poor bastard and just threw him in there. They're like, he looks close enough. He was actually a psychologist. He was walking to work that day.
Yeah.
They just put the bag over his head. They still let the cellmate kill him, which is very strange. Weird choice, if you ask me. But,
man.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I'm surprised is that Ghislaine is still there.
Wasn't she just charged with 2 counts of trafficking?
It's not all going through, but yeah. So I think there's no how I mean, like, I do think she needs obviously justice, but like, how are you gonna like pin all? I feel like that would be super hard.
I don't know. I haven't really kept up with that after.
And I'm sure there's a lot of money. And then I've also heard
died.
Yeah. No. Him and Tupac are going to be on next week.
I hear Michael Jackson's down there somewhere hanging out with him.
Yeah. Jeez. Neverland. Or was it Neverland Ranch?
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
Dude.
I figure...
Dark.
I don't know. I don't... Yeah, he's sketch.
Didn't want to believe it?
Well, no, not even that. Like... I don't want to sound morbid either, but like, he's dead now. That stuff left him. But he left that stuff. But yeah, probably does need to come to life. It was super dark, but I don't really have any interest in.
Oh no, I understand that. You know, did you watch the Woody Allen documentary either?
No.
It's like a docu-series.
Is he a creep as well?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he ended up marrying like someone they adopted.
Oh yeah, he married like his adopted child.
Isn't that? Did I get the name right? Isn't it Woody Allen? Who knows? Podcast.
Woody Harrelson. No,
I'm looking it up.
Woody Harrelson, right?
Time for a goog. But so, what's going on is, he married either like a stepdaughter or an adopted.
I think it was his adopted daughter.
Yeah,
I think I've heard that before.
Woody Allen.
Like, I remember, I bought the
yes, allegedly, I will say. He's the, film director.
Yeah. I bought the R. Kelly one. And I watched...
Let's talk about R. Kelly.
I watched one episode of that.
Okay,
I'm not laughing. I'm not really interested. That's super messed
I'm
up.
not laughing about, like, the content. Right. The content is, like, horrifying.
Yeah. That guy's
like,
messed up.
Something that we can talk about is, like... If we were to go through that catalog, a lot of songs came out, a lot of features happened after these allegations, which I think is a little messed up.
A little sketch, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these people had to have known. And I didn't know that young woman had died in a plane accident. Did you know that?
No, who?
His underage lover.
Oh, no. Jeez, wow. No, I did not know.
She had died in a plane accident that...
He put the plane down. Tinfoil hat on.
No. Yeah. No. I'm just kidding.
Allegedly.
No, it was too heavy on takeoff with all their luggage, and they knew it. Wow. And still took off and ended up crashing. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. No. No, I did not know that actually.
So, you have a podcast. Are you a podcast connoisseur?
Yes.
You are?
Yes. What? Let's get into it. What do you listen to?
I listen to like one. That's it.
Really? What do you listen to?
It's called Stuff You Should Know. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
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 I love that one. But
that is a cool one.
The thing is, like, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts even. I listen to a lot of Stuff You Should Know cumulatively over the years.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like when I'm driving. Because I can't listen to things with words in it when I work. At all, like even music that has lyrics, I can't do that. So I don't have a lot of time to listen to it necessarily.
Yeah, no.
And I've listened to some JRE.
Oh, dude, love
which
it.
Is
here. One second, keep talking about it.
Just way too long format for me. I think. You know what I mean? That's like 3-hour podcast.
Yes, and that's why I'm bringing clips soon. These podcasts I don't think are long enough.
I do watch the clips a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, that's where so much of the money's at. Because like obviously you get monetized off of YouTube
Right.
views, and so like, fun fact about Joe Rogan's channel is the clips page has just as many or more views as the actual.
Oh, I bet it has more. But
yeah, let me go ahead and pull it up.
His full YouTube videos aren't on YouTube anymore.
No, they're on Spotify. And do you remember us talking about this over the summer?
The big
Spotify's
getting into the video game.
Yes, they're gonna take over. That's what they're attempting. They're trying to be it because there's only one space you go to for video. Let's be honest, you're not using Vimeo.
I love Vimeo, but there's nothing on it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So the Google of search engine for video is YouTube, because it's owned by Google. Yeah. But so but anyway, so yeah, and I remember
some competition in the space.
I remember being super excited talking to you about it because
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed trying to watch a JRE episode on Spotify.
Did you watch it on the phone or TV?
Laptop.
Really? Because I've been hearing there's the best way to do it, and this is the only way I've done it is through phone. Okay. Apparently, it was like they put the most emphasis on that.
What happened is I pulled it up and like they have the ads at the beginning that are like different episodes, kind of like you got to skip the entire ad and then it moves to a new artifact of another ad and then the episode. And so I was just skipping through the ads. Me and you have talked about this a lot. I hate ads. But
dude,
also I pay for Spotify Premium.
Okay,
yeah. And then it started playing, and then what happened is it was
you gotta suffer through those ads
with Alex Honnold.
Also, watch at least 10 seconds of a video before clicking off. You can monetize that way.
Okay. But and so it was like 30 minutes in, right? And then all of a sudden, the ads started playing again.
Yeah.
Which was like whatever. I was just skipping through them anyway. Mm-hmm. And then it reset it to 0. And restarted the episode, and it did it twice, and it was getting so irritating trying to find my spot again.
Oh yeah, no, that would be really annoying.
I think that was a bug.
So, yeah, and have you ever been on YouTube when it shut? I've only had this happen like once that I can really, and then the other I'm not sure if it was connection, but YouTube was not working at all, and I Googled it, and
YouTube's gone down twice in the past year.
I'm a regular because I have Premium or Red or whatever it's called. And so I use it to listen to music, podcasts, like you can turn it off and everything, doing an ad right now. But
have you seen their revenue losses just from like an hour down?
Oh, I can't imagine.
Oh,
so Joe Rogan, his just the podcast page, which has like the full podcast, has 1.17 billion views, and then it has 10.5 million subscribers. Yeah. And then his Clips channel has 5.89 million subscribers, but it has 4 billion views.
Wow. Aren't the clips kind of like starting to show up on the main page though?
Yeah, he's doing clips. With the Spotify deal, it makes sense because
they're a little longer too. Like I've started to see like 10 or 12-minute clips.
Yeah, he's probably pushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine. I'm sure he has to pass all that with them, but like, yeah, I mean. It also makes sense. I get that you're building up Spotify to be this new search engine network, but also people are on YouTube right now. Mm-hmm. So like you still have to put some stuff up there. Oh, and that's why that's why I'm doing this podcast on YouTube. This started with a class that I was doing, and
the podcast did?
Yeah, I had to do an audio visual thing.
Was it an assignment?
I had to do it was a big assignment, and I had to turn in like. It ended up being probably about an hour and a half of material that I had to edit, like total, throughout the semester. And that was this small podcast when I was doing, like seriously just using my phone. And now I have, the mics and everything. Yeah. And it's just grown and grown. I just didn't have the equipment at the time. School was canceled. We didn't have, everything you can imagine. Yeah.
Man, I bet that was nuts trying to get through school for you.
It was very weird because
much hands-on work that depends on like a studio.
I freaked out. Like I seriously freaked. I called my dad or my mom. I can't remember who I called first, and I was like, because I went to a studio class, and in it they were like, "Hey guys, just a heads up, this is probably gonna be the last class. Potentially for a long time." And I was like, what do you mean? So, like, are these credits going to count? Like, I didn't even know if my credits were going to... And they're like, we're going to figure that part out. You're going to get credited. It's just going to be so much different than what you had the first 2.5 years.
Wow. Yeah. I've noticed so many people struggle with online learning or remote learning. And
it's taught me how much I can, like, learn on my own.
Yeah.
You helped me with something huge today, which was getting the aggregate device set up, because I've never even had to deal with USB microphones, as I've told you before. Yeah. But, like, and then also just other things like the iPhone video thing we talked about, just like little things.
That's the best way to learn, man.
Yeah.
If you just start messing up on your own.
Yeah.
You know.
Plenty of podcasts have not been uploaded due to mess ups.
Find something that works that could be a lot better, like the sync issue you're having with your iPhone. And then, you know, all of a sudden you have a solution for that, you know, separate audio devices.
Exactly.
But I noticed with remote learning not working, man, people are struggling because infrastructure is a huge problem. Like, they don't have the means to do it. But then also, like, some people don't learn that way, which is weird to me because I learned that way.
Yeah. I have noticed I like it.
Yeah. I remember my senior year of college. Guess how many classes I attended?
How many?
I would have to count on probably 2 hands.
Holy cow. I'm in 6 right now.
No, I mean class sessions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, mine, thank God mine is not like Zooms. It's really cool, actually. They post, like, basically podcasts. Like, they post long audio lectures. And then, you know, why am I blanking? PowerPoints and stuff like that. And I actually like that because like, at this point, we're, like, trained for this audio stuff. Like, I just sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm doing a podcast of, you know, whatever.
So, me going to, like, I mean, enough to count on 2-hand sessions. That was pre-COVID.
That's insane.
That's pre-COVID, by the
did
way.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. So what would happen is all of our classes, it was so cool. All of our classes were set up very well for remote learning. Okay. And so, and what's funny is I never went to class, but my last 2 semesters of school, I never physically went to class.
Okay.
But my last 2 semesters of school were by far my best semesters. I made dean's list both times and had really good grades. But, you know, I had like an 8 a.m. and everybody hates that, especially in college. And so...
Yeah, I remember hearing people talk about 8 a.m.s. Like, it was super funny to me. Like, not that... Well, I can't remember what time.
Were you just used to getting up that early or something?
No, not... It just happened to work out. The first summer before I started at this school, I got a job at the front desk of a hotel. And so I started at 7. Yeah. And so, like, and then I had an 8 a.m. and it was hilarious. Because now, like, I wouldn't like an 8 a.m. as much. But, like, but it's just so funny. The stigma around an 8 a.m.
Yeah,
it is
terrible.
Huge.
So instead of getting up and going to class, the classes were live streamed. And so I'd get up slowly, make coffee, sit at my desk in my apartment, nice and cozy, and just sit there with a coffee and watch a live stream of my lecture. But the thing was, the live stream of the lecture, it had picture-in-picture of him lecturing in front of the class. And then you could see...
The people at home.
No, you couldn't see the people at home. That'd be funny. No, I didn't have to have my camera on. He was just lecturing. It was optional attendance. So he was just lecturing to whoever was there. So it's like the
job you have now. Like, it's kind of like we're not setting these hours. You get done what is assigned.
Right. And so it's live streamed and recorded. I'd usually watch it live so that I try to keep on top of myself to actually watch it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He had picture-in-picture of him lecturing, what's on his computer in the smaller picture. So if he's running a slide deck or something, you get to see all that.
Yeah.
And then they actually had cameramen in the back in a booth.
That's really cool because
running the audio and the stream and the camera, and so they could zoom in to what he's drawing on the board, and you could see everything perfectly.
That makes sense because there's some of these jobs I'm actually looking at as far as like editing.
Yeah.
Universities just straight, and I was curious. I was like, maybe it's for promotional stuff, but it could be like, you know, it could be something like that. Like maybe you just, who knows? But wow, that is awesome. I didn't really have classes like that.
Yeah, I didn't at first. In the giant lecture halls, they don't. But once you get into like your,
How big was your biggest class your major.
Ever,
But, yeah.
How
What
big
the
was my
heck?
biggest class
Yeah.
ever?
Yeah.
Or like major specific?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, biggest class.
400 probably.
Wow, that is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Like, chemistry, I remember my freshman year of college in Cincinnati in the biggest lecture hall. Yeah, 400.
That's crazy. Well, dude, we did it.
We did. It was
We
a good
did
time.
it. Yes, it was.
I enjoyed
You
being
think
on.
we did better than Grant's pod?
Grant's
episode?
terrible, dude.
Yeah, we washed them.
Just kidding. I liked watching that one.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I liked hearing
I'll
about
have
his
you on
mom
again
going-
next time. Wait, yeah, going to the shooting range.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you guys gotta check that out. But please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll do this again next time you're in town.
Absolutely. I'd love to be on again.
Sweet. Peace.
Yeah.